So anyhow, you guys tell me, okay, when do we get to, I'm seeing a little glare, so I'm going to turn here. Is this closer to red or closer to the yellow?
Red.
It's closer to the red, right? Right now, I'm not going to even bother with that. We're going to squeeze this right in, okay? I don't know, what do you think?
Red.
Too red? Okay. Now, so what you want to do in terms of gauging hue is this. You want to look at the difference between these two colors and these two colors, and they should be the same, okay? So they should be the same in the sense that not the value difference, don't go by light and dark, okay? The hue difference, how yellow and how red, from here to here should be the same. So don't go by value, because the value of the color will come down. If the hue is actually correct, right? The value is going to actually decelerate. Like the value actually go at a different pace, right? Than the hue. So if you just go by, you know, how different they are, uncritically, and go by value, that'll just throw you off. Hey, what do you think?
I think it's good.
It's good? I don't know.
It looks more
Looks too yellow?
Yeah.
See, I'm afraid to add red to it just because I know what it'll do. All right. Okay. Yeah, I know it's too yellow, it's driving me crazy. This is a fun color. Like a lot of students, right? How many of you guys try painting quinacridone red? You haven't yet?
How do you pronounce it?
Quinacridone red.
Quinacridone.
PB19. Yeah. There are many shades of quinacridone. And that's a little bit to the yellow shade, but it's not bad. I mean, look at this.
Yeah,
Right? I mean, I'm worried about this area actually. What do you think?
yeah.
Good.
Are you sure? You know what? This is what I'm going to do. A little bit of this. I am going to flatten this. Okay. Hey, can one of you still tell more paper towel for me?
Yeah.
Okay. One of you who are not eating, how about that? Okay. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to flatten this, and I'm going to flatten this. Now, so I'm going to look. You know what? That's a bad idea. So this is the. So take these two. These knives are kind of nice by Lolo. They're so bouncy. I don't like the way they feel in the hand, but they're kind of nice. For painting, they're great. They're more flexible than these. Okay, what do you think?
I think it can have a touch of red.
Touch more red? Okay, I have veto power, okay?
Huh?
I have veto power.
Okay.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to leave this as it is, okay? Right. I know it needs a little bit more red, but you know, I'm just worried that will overwhelm it. Okay, so this is the secondary color, and you know what? I want to make the color triangle even bigger, okay? And move it here. Okay. So I need more space. So what we're now looking for is a color that looks as different from the yellow as from the primary, as the secondary red. What do you think? Way too red, right?
Yeah, more yellow.
All right, you know what? Get this whole thing in. Yeah, way too orangey. I don't know, what do you think? Yeah. All right.
Mix it.
Huh?
You could maybe mix it a little more. It looks like there's yellow in there, but
Yeah, that's true. But you know, I think it does look more yellow, okay?
yeah.
Well, you know, I wish I had bigger palettes. The other size is actually 18 by 24. Sometimes that's what I use at home.
Yeah.
Like only Blake makes it. So people are gonna poo-poo you, right? With disposed palette.
Yeah.
Like in the art school, because they think it looks unprofessional, right? It's fine,
Yeah.
right? Just get a big palette, get a piece of plywood, right? Or even go to the art supply store, get like 18 by 24 panel, and you just stay with the whole thing to it. It'll be fine. I mean, unfortunately, they don't make anything bigger than that. Hey, wait,
I think it's good.
okay, so
Yellow.
what do you think?
I think it's close to yellow. Closer to yellow.
Okay, look at this. And then look at this. Yeah. Two yellow. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna rewrite this. Hey, you know what? I have an idea. I am gonna put this in the baby owl. All right, because I just know I'm going to make it huge. It's going to be way too. Okay. All right. You know what? This is not good. So I'm going to take this out of the way. Okay, that's fine. Okay. All right. I'm going to take. This is going to be too red. All right, I'm going to look at this. Okay, you know what? Okay. All right. No.
Add more red to there and more orange to that.
I don't want to contaminate that. You're right. Shoot. I overshoot, didn't I?
No.
No.
I don't think you did. That's good.
Okay, I'm going to put one on my head. Okay. All right, red. Oh, you know what? I need a big triangle. So here's what I'm going to do. Yeah, Hobart makes the most amazing palette knives. Hand forged? Like, why would they hand forge palette knives?
What?
They hand forge the palette knives. Like they make samurai sword. They take this, they fold it, they fold it, they fold it. Huh? Oh yeah. Except they're not very responsive when you try to email them. They also make those outrageously good brush cleaning tanks, right? They're all like the metal one. They're like shaped like this, and with lid, and it's sealed, right? And I got the biggest one. I got like the extra large one, which is really fun. You know, when you take a big brush into a small brush container, it's hard to clean it. But you have like a big diameter, right? What do you think? To what? To orange. Okay, you know, I need to focus. Okay.
Almost too orange.
Yeah, to orange. All right. All right. I don't know. What do you
It's
think?
pretty close to that.
All right, we'll move to the other one, okay? It's too orange, I think. Yeah.
But look at this one.
Huh? Oh, yeah,
So
don't,
similar.
yeah.
You can't look at that.
Yeah, those, you know.
I know, but it's so similar.
Okay, so yeah, you're right. But don't use those books, right? Because those are like CMYK printing. If you want really accurate color, use Color A paper. You know what that is? You know what that is, right? And you go to the Color A website, and you can order them in big sheets, and those are still sweet. What do you think?
Yeah. I think you could do teeny tiny.
I think we should move on. Because we have a lot of stuff to cover. So you know what? I'll take this. I realize I'm running out of space. The next size is just way too big to bring to.
You can always move it over and have the other one be on the other side.
You're right, yeah. And well, okay. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is get green. All right. I need to get a lot faster. Okay. So just let me focus.
Take out 2 palettes.
Huh?
You might have gone over this while I wasn't here, but why are you using quinacridone?
Because it's the quinacridone, because it's really the closest to the primary red that we have, but also compared to cadmium colors of the same mass tone, straight from the tube, quinacridone gives you a little bit more intensity on the upper range. Okay? It's harder to use. What do you think? That red, that is not bad. It's not bad. I mean, there's a blue. I mean, it's pretty close to primary blue. What do you think?
It's good.
What's over yellow?
Is this closer? Is this closer? A or B?
I guess closer.
You know what? I'm gonna mix it a little bit more. Okay? Mix it a little bit more. And take another one. This one. I got two of these, right? No, this one. Closer to the yellow, closer to the blue.
Closer to yellow.
My bar is yellow.
Remember I said that I have the veto power, right?
Yes.
So I think this is good.
Okay.
We need to move on. Otherwise we'll be here forever. All right. It's actually not bad. A little too yellow. But I don't want to overshoot it. This is too, okay. Too,
Green.
your hands are yellow might actually be closer to primary yellow than cadmium, yellow lights. The thing of covering yellow lights is just covering two varieties, right? And so you just need to look at the back of the tube, right? In terms of getting like a cadmium yellow light that is closer to primary colors, what you need to do is get with this one, right? And it will be like cadmium zinc, you know. It's not cadmium plus zinc, but it's actually one thing, okay? So that's a crapshoot. I mean, we're getting a primary yellow, but if you get something that's like you get something like PY35, right? You're more likely. I get things on my face. You're more likely to get like a real. Oh, you got things everywhere.
Really?
This is too. What do you think? Which is closer, A or B? Too green or too yellow?
I think it's too
Green, right?
on top of the
Yeah.
other.
What do you think?
Good.
Yeah.
Still a little too.
Yeah, it's a little too green. You know what? I got a little bit more. I'm gonna regret this.
What yellow is it? Is it cat yellow?
Yeah. This is a cat yellow light. Oh, there you go. PY35. Okay. PY37 comes a little bit more orangey. You can't just go by the number there because you do need to look at the color. But PY35 is more likely to get a primary yellow than
Hey Dick, are you ever concerned about health issues when it comes to like
Oh,
interacting
yeah.
with paint? The more we're
This is like one year at the academy, one class, the student, I guess they really got quite concerned to me. And then they brought me like gloves, I was wearing gloves. I started using, I couldn't feel my hand, right? I realized the best thing to do is like get, small size, right? Really small, latex glove. So when I hold it in, I'll probably like break the gloves. It's just not inexpensive. And it sounds kind of horrible, right? if I coat my hands with like butter, it actually can go in better.
Right. What's your to make the thing that you like?
Why?
I don't want to do that.
No, this is a terrible joke, okay? So don't let leave this room. Did you
Really cold powder in it.
okay, two green or two yellow?
Pretty good.
Yeah, two yellow.
Yeah, I think so.
Alright.
But
Alright.
might as well leave it now.
Huh? Alright. Okay, now I'm gonna stop, okay?
Okay.
Okay. I'll take this, since I have a lot over here. This. What do you think?
Green.
Green. Right.
Pretty. Still too green.
Yeah. So these two are closer than these two. Now I don't know if you noticed, right? So these are pretty good, right? In terms of hue, what do you think?
It's very, it's close, but
All right, let's spend a little bit more and then stop, okay? Yeah, don't tell anyone about that joke. Okay? How many of you saw that movie?
I didn't watch it fully.
Can you confess?
you watched the whole thing.
No, I watched the scene on YouTube on it because of the whole
just
like
the scene?
controversy of it.
What do you
Because
think?
supposedly they didn't tell the actress.
Oh.
Now, I don't know if you realize, right? You know, see, this is a little bit more red, but it's cool. I don't know if you realize, like, the hue is pretty good, right? But do you notice the value actually changed quite a bit from here to here? A little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less, right? So the hue change is correct, but the value change decelerate as it goes this way. It'll decelerate even more. So when you're looking at and asking yourself hue, don't ask yourself value question, because that's just going to mislead you, okay? So the purpose of this talk is to be able to understand the three properties of color, really understand it, like understand the logic of it, you know, so you don't get into, you know, all kinds of mayhem, basically, okay? So now we'll go into the purple. The purple is going to be a little bit tricky because these two are really dark colors, right? Unfortunately, this is darker than this, but we just have to live with it. I mean, that's the closest that I can really think of. So you know what? I am going to clean my knife. Yeah, I'm going to use a lot of paper towel. Because I'm using knives, I don't use a lot of paper towel. I use those nickel gloves ones in a while,
Yeah.
but latex you can feel it crystal better.
Wait, what's close on?
Hmm?
Close on?
Not really.
That's what
I mean, Titian lived until he was 100, right? He didn't use gloves.
Yeah.
There's all the people who died when they were 30.
Well,
But
that's
you're-
true.
It's like smoking.
You're not supposed to finger paint that.
Yeah.
Okay, now cadmium, you don't have to worry about it that much anymore
Oh no?
because they're a lot safer. Over the past 20, 30 years, they're making that safer and safer.
Lead is the big offender.
Right.
Which we don't use any.
And cobalt.
Cobalt?
Those two didn't really kill you. Like cadmium, it's just, we'll talk about it more later. Because we're going to spend like a whole lecture talking about pigments, right? And that's also going to be a long lecture. And then also the lecture medium is going to be a bit long, okay? So just keep that in mind. So with those two, we'll be set up as today. Because I don't want to shortchange your experience with this, because this is important. And then you can just paint on your own, I guess. Let's see. Purple. Two. And you know what?
That red makes sense.
It's the phthalo in here that makes it so strong. Because they're balancing, you know. Yeah.
That's phthalo or ultramarine?
I'm sorry, quinacridone.
Oh.
And this is quinacridone. This is a mixture of phthalo and ultramarine. If you look at the back, right, it should be PB29 and PB15, I think. Oh, there you go. PB29, PB15. But so you're shopping in the store, right? Just don't look at the front, look at the back. If you get, into some issue, there's a couple of websites that have all the color index code in it. Just bookmark it, okay? These two. Oh no, what do you think? No, it's not.
Too red.
Too blue. Look at these two colors. Look at these two colors. Again, don't go by the value, right? Go by the hue. If you go by the value, this would be too close, right? If you go by the hue, it's still too close. Okay? Alright, you know what? Take this here. Just cut my loss. What do you think? Well, you know what? This is the mass tone, right? So, what do you think? All right, well, add a little bit of blue. It's
Looks
good.
good.
Yeah, it's good.
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll go into talk about that as well. Okay. Yes. You do realize the value is decelerating, right?
It's just crazy how dark it is.
Right. Right. Yeah. The hue is right. Remember, it just gets slower, value-wise, slower, quite a bit slower. The people I find a lot of painters, when they're trying to figure out hue, they keep getting, value, keep getting in the way. So it's really important to really kind of understand the concept. I know it's a simple color wheel, but I think it's a good demonstration of, the difference between value and hue. All right, what do you think? All right, let me add a little bit more red. Okay.
Do you mix all of this every time you paint?
Oh no, this is just for you.
Oh,
Yeah, when I work in the studio, I use brushes. Palette knives, I use it to, clear out palettes. I use it to the test I'm telling you about. I was telling you about with the reds. Then I use knives. When I work in the studio, this and the one that's one size smaller, I thought I had it with me. Those two are like my go-to knives. But I usually have about 6, 7 knives. They go really big. Then they have the big kind of spatula one. You see them, right? And what do you think? Okay. Notice how close they are now value-wise, right? Right? The hue's almost in the middle, but the value, this is way closer to this than to this. Blue violet? Right. I just want to make sure I use the same blue. Well, it's not very exact, but we're going to accept this, okay? understand. And I think that's the issue with anything.
Yeah.
I just want my watch on the desk so I can keep looking at it. Okay? Thank you. Thank you. Right, just put it here. Okay. You. Okay. Eric, this is drying up, so hey, can you put this Sharpie marker back and grab a fresh one? When people look at this, right? What color is this? Blue, right? Yeah, yeah, blue, right? I don't know, purple, red, purple. You know. So when okay, good. When hue is so simple, right? That we think is like synonymous to color itself, and fail to recognize it's just 1/3 of the property of the color. Okay. So it's important to understand that this is not just blue. You know, this is as much blue as it is like medium dark color. I say on a value scale from 0 to 10, this would be around 8. Okay. Similarly, this is a very high intense color. So between this and gray, let's say 1, gray is 5, then this is about 2, right? So this is blue, it's a medium dark color, and a relatively high intense color, okay? So hue is just kind of like one component of it, okay? So that's the easiest to really understand. Now the other thing to look out for is, hey, you know what you could do is, Julia, if you go into my briefcase, I might have a marker there with the caps on, and that will be, you know, because this is kind of dysfunctional, you know.
Where's your case?
My briefcase, it's like behind the, just make sure you don't knock over, okay. There's nothing like secretive in there, just go right through it. Value. Value is like of the 3 components of color, value is the most important. Like usually I find when I'm working in the studio, right, when the color's off, like 95% of them, you know, would be, okay, like 90% would be values off, right? And then sometimes it's the value off in relationship to the intensity, okay? And we'll go through that. Red is equal to blue, blue is so dark. Okay, so you know what, I'm gonna take this. Hey, you got anything in there?
Yeah, there's nothing in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, great.
Oh,
I know it's going to keep drying on me, that's all. So I'm going to take this out, and yeah, we'll put it here. Okay. That's you. And can you go through that stacks for me? And there's like a color wheel in there as well. I mean, it's not very well, it's not very, oh, right here, okay. See, this is downloaded from the Eaton book, and then you know, and then it's downloaded from the Eaton book, and then I printed it with my printer, like super accurate. That's as accurate as you can get. It's still off. I mean, look at it from here to here. That's not the problem. The problem is actually not the printing. The problem is actually with the reproduction itself. Okay, so what I want to do, this is red. And I am going to have 2 of them, okay? This one right here. And just loosening the paint, okay? Ooh, I have a feeling this is too much in the middle. I'm going to take white. Thank you.
Are you using chroma now?
No, I'm going to do value. And what I'm getting, you know, is what we call tints. Tints is really just any colors on the color wheel plus white. And tints would represent from the primary to the white, you know, a various value, but always at the highest intensity because there's no gray in there, right? Okay, so like this, this. And wish I have a bigger palette. I'm just going to run into like 5 shades of tints, including red and white. So I'm aiming for something that's different from the white as from the red. And I'm going to need a lot of help. It's not a bad idea. You know what they do with the oil coming out, right? They actually need to have very little wax in it, which is actually not a bad sign. Especially you want to do like a very kind of painterly. Hey, what do you think? It's too red, I think. Okay, you know what? You know what? Since I got this pretty close, I want to mix a big batch of that, just in case. So I'm gonna use that up later. Okay, we can move right in there. That was too white. You know what? I'm just gonna use this. You know what? Okay, I can live with that. We'll get 2 more. What do you think? Too white or too red?
Too red.
Red, yeah. Oh, bless you. That's actually not bad. It's loosen up very easily. It's probably winter, right? You have too much wax in there. So if you want to do like anything with like, you know, interesting brush stroke, it's not really the right paint for it. Okay. Okay. Take this, more red to it. We'll use up more. So. Okay, so now you notice, right? When I'm mixing the color, I don't go this way. I go this way, and then this, and then this. Just the same thing. I get the secondary before you get the tertiary. Because if you go this way, you need to give things like 1/3, 2/3, and it doesn't make any sense. So you do it in half and then half. That makes more sense. So that's really just a key of, you know, being able to calibrate, you know, the value correctly. Oh, I don't know. What do you think? Red. So these are tints, and you know they are each of the shade of tint at that value is at the highest intensity. Does that make sense?
This is no black.
There's no black in it, right? Now, however, the tints, so it's the highest intensity, but they do change in intensity this way. They just can become more intense in that value. And we'll go into that more. I know right now, I say that sounds kind of confusing, but maybe it would make sense to you in a bit. Hey, what do you think? More red, yeah. All right.
First the time in Paris, no less.
Huh?
First the time in Paris, no less.
Okay, got it. Okay, what do you think?
Yeah, better.
Well,
It's a little white.
well,
Actually, it's closer to the red, isn't it?
you know what? We just have to live with it, you know? I'm gonna add black to it, so that's why I'm cleaning this up, because I don't want white to get involved. Okay? You guys all paint with gloves?
I
You do?
think the only one here.
What kind of gloves do you use?
A nitro one.
Right. Those are kind of indestructible. The latex?
I mean, I'm used to them, so like,
Huh?
I'm used to them.
Right. Oh, where's my cap, by the way? Does anyone see?
Oh, it's in the thing.
Where is it?
It's in the thing.
Oh, but there's another marker, right? Oh, okay. The blue one. Okay. Hey, thank you. Right. So we just did all the tints. Next thing I'm going to do is get the shades, which is red plus, or any spectrum color plus black. And I'm going to use ivory black. If I have enough. Otherwise, I'll go to Mars, but that's too red. I mean, among all of your black, all of your blacks are to the warm side. Okay? Those are things to cool black. It's like light, that's supposed to be cool light, right? But that's only 5,000 K, which is pure white. You know. So this is still a little bit warm, but it's as close as to like a real black as you can get. So in my palette, that's the only one that I really use, this color, even though
Yeah, are you using a gray palette and a white palette on purpose?
no, that's just what I have. You know what I use these for? Just to prepare like big colors of paint. So the color's not that important, right? But and you know what I'm gonna do? This is gonna be kind of tricky, but I'm not gonna mix 3, I'm just gonna mix 2, okay? Because this is actually closer to the black than to the white anyway. So that kind of makes sense, okay? So I'm gonna take so that's gonna be tricky, right? So you know what I'm gonna do? I am going to mix this color and this color simultaneously, okay? So I can actually see the, where's the cat? I'm gonna mix this. And mix this. Yeah, don't use Mars black.
The warm?
No, it's actually not that black. So we're gonna spend like a whole week at whole class going through the pigments, and that one is also a long talk, but this is longer. Okay, what do you think? Oh, too black, I think, no?
Yeah.
All right. We'll start with this. I'll start with fixing this. Now fix this. I'm going to take this to here. It's still too black. I'm going to take this to here. This is just for reference, okay? Hmm. What do you think? A, B, C, and D.
Pretty good.
This is too black,
Yeah. Below.
and this is too black. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this, well, I'm going to take this, move this to here, take this, clean that up, move it more. This up, you know what? What do you think?
I think these are good. This looks very similar. I think we gotta make that look darker.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right. Although the issue is, right, I see the same thing as you do, and I can't speak for you, I'm quite a bit older, right? So the color is correct, then this will actually appear closer than here, but the bottom range begins to go, okay? You know what, I'm gonna take this, Okay, so this is fine. I'll take this, put it here. Take this, put it here. I'm gonna take this. What do you think? Pretty close? I think this could still use just a little bit more red.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is value. Okay. So if you look at the hue, it goes this way, right? Color wheel, color triangle, whichever formation. Value is always very linear because the way that we do it, the tints and the shades is always the spectrum color. Let's call it that. Or primary red plus white and plus black. Okay. Does that make sense? So now so this are the three components of color. This is really the most important for the realistic painter. Okay. So sometimes when I kind of go around the room, the primary issues that I see is actually value. It's always value. So fun. Does that make sense? Okay. So now I'm going to try something else, which is I'm going to take this. Put this here. Hey, if you go through that pile, right, of the plastic sleeves that you went through earlier, see if you can find a value scale in it. Your hands are clean. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Okay. So one of the things that do you want to really kind of spread this out a little bit more. Okay. So one of the things that really eludes people, right? And I hear this, I will say yellow and purple, right? Which is lighter. Usually people say purple, right? Yellow is lighter, right? Or like orange and yellowish orange and violet. Okay. So which is darker? People say violet, right? That's actually not true. Every hue that you have is capable of the exact same range of value. Okay? So what you need to do is stop thinking that purple has to be dark and yellow needs to be light. Right? That's actually not true. Now this is not as well printed as I like, and this is part of the book, but as you can see, like every value, this is supposed to be all the same value, right? They're just different hue. So these, in some sense, is actually here, right? These are just, you know, each of the hue in different values, that's all, right? So as a realistic painter, you really need to focus on the value, okay? Usually, hue when I'm painting, I don't really think that much about it. I don't think about it much at all. Usually I think about value, and when it comes to hue, the only question I'm asking myself is it warm or cold? That's the only question that I'm asking. And that has to do with hue, it has to do with other phenomena as well. But hue seems, for me anyway, seems kind of so self-evident that I don't really kind of worry that much about it, except of the color temperature that is capable of expressing. Right?
So you don't think about color temperature when it comes to chroma as well? Just hue.
Just hue.
Not
A
color.
little bit of chroma also, and a little bit of value as well. And then, you know, but it's mostly hue, right? So those three are kind of, and it's really also temperature is the color that you're looking at in context, everything else. How many of you took a color theory class, like a formal color theory class? So you saw the simultaneous contrast, right? So when we do a demonstration of that, we'll probably go a little bit further, you know, than what you had previously, okay? So that's another big lecture. Mostly like the more theoretical stuff tends to be a longer lecture. But any question? Okay. So now what I'm going to do is this. This is the red. So what I'm going to do, I'm sorry about that. Is I am going to mix a gray that has the exact same value as the red. Okay? That's going to be tricky, so you guys have to help me out, all right? Sounds terrible. Who is Gamsol?
Oh, I do.
Yeah. So you guys should try this, okay? Because what I'm going to do now is mix the gray, and we want the gray to have the exact same value as the red, okay? So the red is over here. I'm going to start with black, and
This is chroma, right?
yes, we're getting there. Now, this is actually chroma, but we'll get into that later, okay? All right, let's see. Right, you guys seem like various, how many of you seen this demo before? Right, okay. How does it feel compared to what you had earlier?
Same.
Like, yeah. Because the truth doesn't change. Ah, what do you think? Compared to the red, the gray is no. Look at the border from here to here, okay? Now, what you want to ask is like, not so much red and gray, which side is darker? The red is darker. Can you all see that? Okay.
have to be on
All right.
top of it.
Right, on top of it. See this border, right?
Yeah.
Now, maybe close one eye. Just glance back and forth, okay? Can you tell that the palette side is darker than the knife side?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Which is darker, the palette side or the knife side?
That's a nice.
I mean, nice.
It's pretty close, right? I want to do this. By the way, I know you take a photograph, right, of the color. Red usually comes out darker than it is.
Yeah.
Blue comes out light. I have no idea why that is. Okay. I told you, like I try to ask people in the computer area. I told you that, right? I try to understand. It's really weird. It's nothing to do with color theory. It just has to do, like the algorithm. I mean, I'm not a scientist, so I'm sure. Okay, so I'm gonna mix a big batch of this. All right, so let's see. This one is like really flat, right? What do you think? It's too dark or too light? Okay, look straight down, okay? Focus.
The
think it's
next
too
one's
dark.
darker.
Right, good. With this, you just need to really focus on yourself. So you know what? I want to mix the gray, slightly lighter than this, and then I think we're good. Because I can use this as a reference, and I need a lot of gray. So I'm going to consolidate two batches together. Okay, a bit lighter. Okay. So I'm going to eventually need a lot of this, and I'll show you why. Too light, but I'm going to consolidate these two. Again, I'm going to need a lot of this, okay? So I'm mixing it like this. You know what? I'm going to mix a little bit more. I think this is about right. So I'm needing this for like a whole bunch of things, so I'm trying to be really critical of this. I'm seeing it collate, that's why I keep stepping back. What do you think? Look straight down and just focus.
Nine.
Gray is
Gray is lighter.
right, good. Maybe just a little bit. But for the purpose of what we're doing, we need to be really kind of exact, okay? And I'll show you why in a minute. I don't mean to just keep that as secret, but that's going to kind of help you to, just unfold the information in a logical sequence and stuff. All right, so let's see. I should have enough. All right. Making that noise didn't help. Close one eye, look straight down. Okay, you can see the shadow now. Okay. The knife side is.
I think it's lighter, but I'm seeing glare.
No, then move back so you don't see any glare, okay? I'm gonna move this down.
Oh, darker. The knife
The gray is.
darker. This one's darker.
Okay. Now just focus on the value. Don't let the intensity get in the way, because a duller color will always come across as darker than it is. Okay, just keep that in mind. And that just comes from like an erroneous confusion.
Yeah, it's because of that.
The gray is.
Maybe lighter.
What do you guys think?
It's lighter.
I think it looks good from where I'm sitting.
But be really critical, okay?
Which one's darker?
Right. The red or the knife?
The knife.
I think it's good.
Oh wait, the red.
Is
Slightly lighter.
no. I'm sorry. That's all. No, because I got to screw this over. You know what we're going to do, okay? Go ahead, just a little bit more black to it. This is the kind of things that, you know, parents tell their kids and they end up like spending thousands of dollars in therapy. All right, okay, this is good, okay?
That's good. That color is the same as that.
I think so.
Yeah, if you took a black and white photo of it.
Don't go by that, okay? The red's going to show up, okay? I don't know why that is, again, it's just always this. I can tell you my experiment later. I used to teach in like a university, so I try to take advantage of people who like study computer or stuff like that. To have them help me troubleshoot stuff like in Photoshop, right? They couldn't do it. You know, it's not there because they don't understand color theory. I'll tell you about, you know, so this is very close, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna take this in here. Okay. Not bad. Separate out too dark. It's close. So I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take red. And what I'm going to do is see if I can arrive at the middle intensity. That's a good thing. That would be really horrible. Because I have OCD. If you're OCD, you really should get really bad OCD. So. Hey, what do you think? Too red or too gray?
Looks pretty purple, so.
Pretty in the mirror.
Too gray, right. See, these three colors are not bad, right? I mean, I'm looking at the three intensity of the three bands, they're all pretty balanced. So that indicates that, you know, the color themselves is actually, you know, close to primary red. And that's really hard to do, close to primary colors. Thank you. Well, okay, you know what? Yeah, take this. Take this. Okay. So we're not going to get to the critique today, okay? Of the painting?
Okay.
Yeah, we'll consolidate next week, okay?
Wait, this is gonna last that long?
Oh yeah. What do you think? Well, okay, then now that's the hardest to see because of light value. You can squint at it, it's not going to do anything. So you're looking at just the color difference between the red and the knife, or between the gray and the knife, which is a bigger color difference.
Red and the knife.
Right.
There you go. Right.
You know what? I'm gonna mix a lot of this too, because I have a feeling that I'll end up using this as well. Hey, anyone in the academy good with like videos and stuff like that?
What is that?
Anyone in the academy who's really good with videos?
Julie's good for short
Videos?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We might need someone to help take the file down so we can incise. so we can put in Vimeo. What do you think?
That seems good. I feel like those are different.
This two more different or this two more different?
I think it's closer.
Right, yeah, still need more red. But you know what? I'm not gonna just get as best that I could. By the way, does anyone have a tube of dioxazine purple? We just need a little bit of it, okay? Thank you. You know, I realized I need to very quickly mix a grayscale for that part of the demonstration. What do you think? Closer to this dull color, closer to the red?
Closer to the dull color.
Right. Quite a bit closer. Wow, the black is strong. More red or more gray? Huh? Okay, now we're looking at this around this, okay? So I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take this. Okay. Closer to the dull color, closer to the red. You can tell. You can double closely. Closer dull color. Right, okay, alright.
I think it's closer to the red. No.
I think it's closer to the dull color.
Look at the border on this side and this side.
Closer to this.
Right, good. I'm gonna take this. I'm just gonna mix these together, okay? Get as close as I can. Because again, I need to go back to the value scale, okay? Well, that was fine. Pretty small red to it.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna fix it, okay? Now I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take this gray. I'm gonna take this color down. And now I'm gonna mix one between the gray and the dull red. Okay? Closer to the gray or closer to the dull red?
The gray.
What do you think?
Which one?
This is closer to the gray or the dull red?
Oh, this?
Yeah.
It's closer to the red.
Right. Now?
Some more gray.
Like casting a shadow. When you cast a shadow, that is going to affect the perception of intensity.
closer to the break.
Take your time a little bit.
I think it's close to
It's too bright, but you know what? I'm going to use it.
So this is intensity, right?
Right. It's often, these days, it's often called chroma. But, you know, I'm kind of old-fashioned. I call this intensity. Just like value, I don't really say value. I usually say tone. It's just like a more old-fashioned term. So, I'll go back to this. Meanwhile, let's just make a note of it.
So as we get into the shade of value, you get lower intensity too, right?
Say that again.
So like over here, as red goes into shadow value, it's lower intensity, obviously, right?
Right, that's a good observation.
So intensity and chroma are the same thing. Intensity and chroma are referred to the same thing.
Yeah.
That's
So, so these are the terms, right?
Yeah.
So hue can be really old folks, right? You could say chrome, not chroma, right? So chrome and hue, they're the same thing. It's just the development of color theory that's never been like a standardized vocabulary, that's all.
Okay.
Value and chrome, same thing. Usually, value may be a newer term. Maybe designer might say value. This is just my observation. There's no standardized vocabulary, right? And tone, most painter would say tone. So I would never say value structure. I don't think I ever said that. I usually say tonal structure, right? But they're the same thing, okay? So that's so good. Now we saw the three properties of color. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to do it by myself, okay? Because I need to really focus. I need to do it very quickly. Is that I'm going to make a grayscale that matches those values exactly. So let me just focus on this, all right?
Are you still gonna need the excess of purple?
Huh?
Are you gonna still need the purple?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna move this over here for now. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
What's your drink?
You know, I think my information is just kind of old-fashioned and stuff. So I use terms that you might not hear. So it's just like you know what? Just in case, I'm keep using this. Can you guys tell that that's actually a long way? And I'd be black is as
Yeah.
cool as it gets.
Blue, black, too.
I don't know. I mean, blue black is like not a real color, so I don't really know. What can you see?
How much black is in it?
Okay, so I'm gonna start with I'm gonna start from here. I'm gonna move my way up. probably shouldn't run out of space. So. I just need to focus on this, okay? I'm just gonna put it here because I don't want this to go. Does anyone have a thin brush I can borrow? A very thin brush. Just for measuring.
Something like
Thank
this?
you. Yeah. Thank you. That's an old trick of paint. Sometimes it's really why you go into a store and you get color that you haven't seen in like 20 years, you know? I used to work in over architecture, right? Because when I first came to New York, I figured we can make money. I did architecture like all. I had a full-time job. I think I told you a full-time job for like 1.5 weeks. And I realized that's really not me. And then when I week off, you know, like every week I did a day off. So they give me a day off and I started teaching. And then I had a full-time job.
Wait, so you were an architect?
I had a training in architecture when I was in Boston, like in the Cambridge area. But you know, it is like what's never really for me. But even then, you know, an artist really.
A house designed by you would be really wacky.
Huh?
A house designed by you would be really wacky. Yeah.
You guys see Mondrian Studio?
No.
Oh God.
What's it like?
She was like, this guy had serious OCD. And you can tell from the painting, right? And then he made every single piece of furniture in the studio. And everything was like black and white. Except like a phonograph, you know what that is, right? An old record player. And that's in red. And he loved that phonograph. You know what's Mondrian's favorite album?
No, what is it?
Looks like a painting.
Snow White and Seven Dwarfs.
Oh, really? Like from the Disney movie?
Right, from 1936. Among the songs would be Someday My Prince Will Come.
Did you ever see the his flower painting?
Oh God, yeah.
I like it. You don't like them?
Well, he did them for money only, you know?
Yeah, I know. I didn't like it, but I still like looking at them.
Yeah. How about 10 books of Mondrian?
This is his studio, Dick.
Huh?
This is it.
What?
The studio.
Okay, alright, let me focus on this. Okay. What?
Nothing.
All right, just let me focus, okay? Sorry. I don't know what I'm telling you. It's my fault. Okay, 2 more. Oh, just I mean, I live in
We'll
this
make a
video.
stop motion or a
Huh?
speed up of this stuff.
You know what? Okay. Go. Okay. So anyhow. Ooh, that was bad. All right. Thank you. Thank you. It's too dark and too dark. I think you get the idea. Yeah, the two top two is too dark. From here it's pretty good. So this is really value. Also, the difference is this. This, if you think about it, and so we're going to go into a discussion of the relationship between value and intensity, okay? So if you think about it, if you think about it, these colors, right? Starting from, let's say, the spectrum color, so these are all zero intensity, right? Every single one of them. So if you look at these, you know, this is like 0% intensity, no intensity. 0%, 0%, 0%, 0%, right? 0, 0, 0. The only change is value. There's no intensity change, right? Okay, so this is 0%. Just like this is 0%, okay, intensity-wise. All right? So one of you might have observed earlier, you know, was it color? Pointed out the color actually looks intensity, right? Because what happened, if this is 0% intensity, this is actually 100% intensity, right? This is actually 0% intensity, and this is 0% intensity, right? So as the color heighten in value, it drops in intensity, just like when the color like darken in value, you know, it kind of like also loses intensity, right? Does that make sense? So far so good, right? Okay? So what it really means is that for every color, if you think about it, in the color wheel, and we can call them, I'm just going to invent a term, let's call it spectrum colors, okay? Just the colors in the color wheel. And they would, you know, include the primary colors, secondary colors, and tertiary colors, right? But for all these colors, it's actually impossible to change the color's value without changing the color's intensity. Okay? Does that make sense? Right? So if I take So if I take like a red, right, this is here, and I mix it with white, it just duplicate what I have, right? Alright.
Oh, really? That's how you do it?
Basically, I just kind of duplicate this area. Grab another knife. What's the skinny one? Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. I mean, this is actually just it, right? So, one thing to keep in mind, now we're going to go into a discussion of, between value structure and how that relates to intensity, okay? Let's say in your painting, the lightest color is some kind of red, okay? It's high intensity, right? So this is why, people ask me this, like, does it make sense to actually start a painting in a grisaille, just black and white, right? From all the way from white to black, let's say, right? Like your first painting. And then let's say we do that as accurately as we can, and then we go on top of it with different colors, matching the value of the grisaille. Would that work? Why not?
Because it would, as you match the value, the intensity changes, and if your lightest color is the most intense,
Right.
it wouldn't be able to compute or translate.
You guys,
It's supposed to work. I mean, that's
no,
the whole,
but can you explain that again? You can probably do better than I can. So the process is to start with grisaille, get it like perfect, okay?
Right.
Go on top of that with the various color, in different intensity, different hue, but matching the value of the grisaille. So imagine a grisaille, I'm mixing all these colors. I'm just going to do this, apply each one of them on top.
Yeah.
It would not work because
If your lightest light was a red, and the red was higher intensity, you wouldn't. I'm trying to think of how to communicate it, but
no, you got it. Yeah, good point.
Something's off, definitely.
yeah. How would I say that?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, we keep going. You're getting very close. And I could explain as well, but I think you look at it better than I could. Okay? So why would it not work?
It wouldn't work because the lightest light was a red,
Mm-hmm.
and then you translate it like.
Keep going. You got it.
The reason my
Does
painting
anyone?
isn't working.
No. Yeah. That's. Yeah. Anyone else want to give a shot at this? You got it. It's just a
You
matter
wouldn't
of
be able to go low
articulating it.
enough with your darks.
Mm-hmm.
because the same way looking on here, like if this was the lightest light,
Mhm.
there's not as much value range from that to the darks. So you wouldn't have the full scale of your highest lights and your darkest darks in the painting.
You get it? How old are you?
Me? 22.
22 and she's shy.
Can you ask the question again?
So let's say we're doing the painting underneath, right? In Gazelle. So this has been asked to me before. Its value is so important, then why not in the very bottom layer complete a Gazelle, get the value exactly right, and then impose on top of a Gazelle, you know, a full spectrum color painting with the different hues, different values, all matching the Gazelle underneath.
That red can't go that high.
Of the relationship with chroma.
And what?
Because it's gonna look different around the way the different values. And like there's a hierarchy as to how color is distributed in form for you to actually turn.
I have a question. I don't know. So does each hue have the same intensity? Like,
Theoretical. That we actually don't know. We just don't know. Yeah. We assume, that these are the highest.
So if your
So
red
he-
was
he
the
kinda got it,
highest
just gonna
light,
explain it. Right.
if red was the highest
Right.
light, it
Right.
can only go that high in value.
Right.
And so you'd have to compress your entire image within this range.
Ah,
Right.
I see what you mean.
Everyone get it?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right.
it's like what you showed us at the window, right?
No, this is different. So looking out at the windows, what we did last week.
Because it has a higher range.
Right,
from
the
what's
higher range.
capable of paint, and value has a higher range, or the value might have a higher range than what's capable of hues.
The light change out. So the best that you can do is you can take the whole world, all these array of different values, and actually compress them in some way, or finding the relationship among those colors that will allow you to transport that onto the black and white of your palette, right? So that's one lesson, right? So today is different. When you have a color, like any spectrum color, when you add white or black to it, not both, right? You actually change the color's value and the intensity. Like right here, if you're adding white to it, you're pulling, this is 0% intensity, this is 0, right? So when you add white to it, you're actually pulling it to 0 intensity, just like when you're black, you're pulling it to the 0 intensity,
You're
right?
diluting its pure form, right?
Yeah, let's cut it 100%, okay? So if you do a painting, let's say, not worrying about the hue and intensity at all, use that theory, you do a perfect result, okay? So the lightest color that you have is actually right, let's say right here. Because it doesn't make sense and just a result to change your tonal scale, right? I mean, some people do it, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense,
Oh, I know.
right? So where am I going with this?
Because different color hues can have the same value. No.
So you're losing intensity if you try to match the value.
Right, right. So you do the whole painting in Gazelle, but not when you're going to transition the colors into hue. Let's say on the whole painting, the lightest color is red, still high intensity. It's like a red highlight, right? So it's not going to go here. Notice as you add white to it, it begins to, turn into 0% intensity, right? So you can get to, let's say here, you can go to here, it really depends, right? So let's say you stop right here, right? No, let's say you stop here, right? You lose a lot of intensity already. So now the painting is not going to have a one-to-one correspondence between that color and the white. So if you were, so this value range or the tonal range of the painting actually is not going to go from here to here unless you're willing to sacrifice, the intensity. So the value range can only be about right here. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Alright. So understanding the difference between value structure and intensity structure stumped almost everyone.
Yeah, that's what you're trying to explain to me over there.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
That's where-
Or it's what I'm
Yeah.
not
But wait, do you guys all get it, right? Okay, so that's important to understand is that the tonal structure actually is related to the intensity structure, and the intensity structure is really your color. So, I mean, you can get the red up to here. So this is going to be like the lightest color. Your whole painting is going to be, let's say, around here. But realize that this is going to lose intensity. So to get the color relationship correct, the rest of the painting might need to be duller than this color, right? So if your value intensity is here, your intensity structure is actually in here. But if your value structure is over here, let's say you're not willing to sacrifice, the intensity of the red. So this is your lightest color. You're still preserving more intensity than in option number 1. Now in option number 2, you have a wider range of intensity to work with.
But a smaller value range.
Right.
But the intensity
Right.
compensates for it, right? The intensity compensates for the smaller range of value.
Well, that's your call. That's your call.
Okay.
Right. Okay. That's your call. It's really like, but
It can't compensate for it.
it could compensate for
That's
it,
the
right?
point, is that if you take away the color, then you're working with a much more limited value range because you're gonna have to compress your values to have the same effect, the same contrast, right?
Right. And then that affects the intensity structure.
Yeah.
Right.
Because then if you want to translate it into color, you're gonna have to deal with a different it's like maybe your hierarchy isn't the same, maybe your grouping of values isn't gonna be the same because now you have color to deal with.
Right. You
So
mean from the
the
result
desire
of the
of
painting,
the-
right? Right. I mean, let's say your highest intensity color, right, is the red, and you're unwilling to sacrifice any of the intensity, right? Okay. So this is going to be your lightest color. No one do this too crazy. So let's say this is the lightest color. Now your value range is about here,
Yeah.
but you have the entire intensity range to work with.
Yes.
Okay. So does that make sense to everyone? So it's really like how, so you're always trying to find that balance between the value, between your value structure and the intensity that you desire. Because the value structure would affect your intensity range. Does that make sense?
I'm still not 100% clear, but maybe when I see a painting or like, I think a visual cue would be good for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like working from life, still life outside, whatever, your value range is limited, but you can work and compensate for that by broadening your intensity around the values.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you just need to kind of juggle between the two. Like invariably, when you're white to color, we're still on the lightest color problem. There are other problems we can go into, right? So when you whatever that you're willing to go, by adding white to it for your intensity range, the higher that you go, the less option of the intensity that you have to work with. So if you go up to here, you're gonna have this much intensity to work with. Here you have this much intensity. Here you have this much intensity to work with, and this is also true with our accents. Okay. So everything that is true with the lightest color is also true with the darkest color. The problem though is usually with the lightest color because when students paint, and this goes back to the lessons from last week, people just automatically try to copy the value that they see, which is not possible. Basically, as one student might, phrase that years ago, you're tracing the light. It doesn't really work, right? So you see how last week lessons is different from this week, right? You guys all got it, right? Okay? Does that make sense?
You can never actually do the value that's in real life because there are too many transitions and we only have so many steps that we can do.
Right.
So we have to interpret the relationships and the contrast.
Right.
And work with a certain group into keys and then arrange the keys of tones in such a way that maybe one end of the keys of the spectrum of values is really broad and then your darks are really limited. Or maybe you're working with midtones and such, which is what we're talking about. And it always depends on what it is that you're trying to interpret and the contrast that exists in the picture, right?
Right. So when what we did last week, I mean, you could have different options, right? And they're not, you can't say what is more correct than the other. It's really what you're willing to work with, right? And then this week, taking the value structure and the intensity structure. Usually when a student, have problem with the painting, it's usually because they, number one, what we call chase the light. Let's call it that. What happens is that when students run into problem with the color, it's usually because they're working in the wrong key.
Yeah.
And it's because they don't understand how the value relationship or the value structure would actually affect the intensity structure.
So if you have a really, really intense color in a painting and then you're trying to, like the most intense, and you're trying to add white to get like a highlight to something,
Right.
it's just not going to look
Right.
as bright.
Right. And at some point you're not going to be, satisfied with it.
Yeah, because the bright yellow will look brighter than like white.
Yeah. Right. So it's true like the whole of the hue, right? So that's why starting with Brazil, moving to like color, there's no way that it could work. I mean, it's not possible, right? Does that make sense to everyone? So usually when you work, I'm gonna repeat myself. Usually when your colors don't work, it's because you're working in the wrong key, the wrong value key. You're working a value key that's incapable of expressing the intensity that you want. How many of you run into paintings and you keep adding white to it and say you can't do it, just get really bright, you can't really do it, right? You're working the wrong key, okay? That's all that really is, right? So that's a very easy kind of way to troubleshoot, but you do need to understand the relationship between the value structure and intensity structure. So this is just a way of kind of like, making that clear. Does that make sense? Okay, one other thing I want to talk to you about is we're living in a subtractive color world, okay? What time is it? Okay, we might not have much painting left, okay? But this is important, okay? So, we're living in a subtractive color world affected by additive color. But we're just going to focus on the subtractive color, in this instance, right? Oh, by the way, sometimes, right, and when I don't really like to work with students painting, but sometimes the student like say, oh, the painting really doesn't work, right? And then they get really frustrated in one passage, and then I would try to help them to fix the painting. And instead of fixing that color, I usually just fix all the other colors around, okay? Because the student can actually mix this color that they are actually complaining about, they would have gotten it already. So the problem is never that color. The problem is always the other color. Right. Okay. So subtractive color work. So the world's mostly kind of additive colors, mostly subtractive colors with the additions of the light. So subtractive color is, I think, another issue that tend to stumble a lot of students, especially in realistic painting. Realistic painting, we just have to look at the color and abstract painting. I don't mean to poo-poo abstract painting. It's just the criteria is different. That's all. So I don't know if you know, men, we have a worse perception of sensitivity to hues actually not as good as women. You know that? I'm not. How to be so happy? It's gonna do a happy dance. And I could run a test to you. Actually, there's a test that I used to run with my students, and in that test, just Google hue test. The lower the number, the better the score. And men would go into anywhere from 4 to around, I don't know, like 20 in some cases. And if you're colorblind, it goes like 40 or some ridiculous amount, right? We're not really going to get there. Women can get as low as 2.
You're putting colors in order?
Right.
What it is?
You're putting them in order in the order of the hue. And women always comes out better. I could kind of get it down to 4, but it's not because of my eyes, because I've just experienced it. That's how we compensate for it, right? So imagine if you're severely, so colorblind, usually people just red green, right? If you get really kind of severe colorblind, then the world is just in gray, right? So when I was growing up, with you guys, I watched the Apollo landing on the black and white TV. You know what that is, right? When they land up on the moon, which my grandmother always said is a hoax. That has no sense. I don't know. It's illogical. And so you guys know the scene, right? Of the astronaut landed, on the moon. You guys may see it on color television. I saw it on black and white TV because it's around '69, I think. And he planted the flag, the American flag on the moon, right? And you look at the flag and it makes sense to you, right? How many of you look at the flag and say, why do we know there's a red, white, and blue flag? Why couldn't it be white, orange, and purple? That is the same value as the American flag. I mean, you could be pulling a fast one on you, right? But you notice when you look at that, when I saw it, at least I can speak for you guys, I have no doubt that that was like an American flag with red, white, and blue, right? Because the value information is there. I don't really need the hue information. I just take it as an article. I just never question it. How many saw the movie? How many of you see Gilligan's Island? Oh, you saw it like Gilligan's Island. Like again, I grew up watching Gilligan's Island. You guys know that show?
Yeah.
Right. Oh, okay, good. And you know, and always, you know, and then Gilligan, Skipper, the professor, Marianne, Ginger, Mr. and Mrs. Howard. Okay. And the 7 of them. So Gilligan's, when I was watching the show, I never looked at Gilligan's and thought, why is Gilligan's face in a light gray? Which it wasn't a black and white TV. I never asked like, why was Gilligan always wear the same gray t-shirt? I never asked this question. I never look at Gilligan and say, wow, he's really sick, his face is off, right? Right? So the first time I saw Gilligan's Islands in color, I realized flesh tone, but also the shirt is actually in red, okay? So if you're severely colorblind, Gilligan's will always wear a gray shirt and always have gray skin. So imagine you're one of those people who are completely colorblind. So can we all imagine that, right? Like you can't tell anything, you're colorblind. So if you're colorblind, I'm not going to do a demo here. This is lighter. So you know that 3 primary colors give you black, right? Just like the 3 secondary colors give you black, just like the tertiary colors always give you black, and here, and here will give you black, right? So red, yellow, and blue gives you black. Yellow is you know lighter than black. Red is lighter than black, and blue is lighter than black. So if you're completely colorblind, instead of seeing yellow, red, and blue, you're seeing a light gray, a dark gray, another dark gray. But if they're mixed together, it gives you like black. That doesn't make any sense, right? Think about it, it doesn't make any sense. If you're really colorblind, that will really confuse you, right? That's because we're living in a subtractive color world. So the key to remember is this. Now look at this. When I mix this, how many of you notice that this is darker than this and also darker than this? Right?
What?
The purple,
Yeah.
darker than this, right?
Yeah.
It's also a little bit darker than this,
Yeah.
it's just hard to tell, right? But notice that these 2 colors, now we're not even talking about red, yellow, and blue. We're just talking about red and blue. Again, a dark gray, again, a dark gray, mixed together, even darker gray. That also doesn't make any sense, right? So subtractive color mixture, if you think about it, is a kind of weird color idiosyncrasy, and you just need to be aware of it. And one of the keys to remember is that opposite colors cancel each other out to give you darker colors, and also in this region, you know, of the color wheel between the red world and the blue world also darkens in color when you mix them together. Because in the subtractive color world, you can have 2 colors that are of the same value, and you mix them together, and sometimes you would get to a darker color. Not always, because these 2 mix the middle value color, these 2 mix the value between these 2, but these 2 give you a darker value, okay? So because we live in a subtractive color world, in terms of color mixing, you just need to realize that sometimes you can take 2 colors of the same value, you mix them together, you get a darker value. But you will never mix 2 colors together and come up with a lighter value. That just doesn't exist. Okay? Does that make sense? We usually see this, right? You see this like thousands of times. Sorry. No one ever questioned why it's darker than these 2. Isn't that kind of weird? But now I pointed out, that's weird, right? Yeah. Look at this. How many of you notice? I try my best. So these 2 are the equal value, right? Look at what happens when you mix this color with this color. It goes darker, darker, lighter, lighter again. They're not the same value, right? These 2 colors are the same value, yet when they mix together, if I were to position the color correctly, it wouldn't go this way, it would go this way, this way, this way, and this way again. Again, an example of two colors of similar value, yet when you mix them together, arrive at a darker color.
Subtractive, like
Right.
color mixing. So
Yeah.
like even if there's the same value, the moment that you mix them, they're gonna go.
They could, they
yeah,
not
they
always.
can go down, but they will
Right,
never go
they
up.
will never go up because that's additive color.
Yeah.
Okay, so does that make sense? Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind. I think from today, the most important lessons is are actually these. Number one, really understand that there's a way to actually organize all of these. Can you pull that out for me? So there's a way of organizing the three properties of colors, and there's no perfect way of doing that because there's no one-to-one correspondence between color theory and geology. They're completely different fields, right? But the closest that we have is the Munsell color structure, which is something like this. And the first one, let's put that up also, okay? So the first Munsell color structure, again, it came with, now Albert Munsell is just a Boston school teacher. It's really kind of fun. He was in the Boston Normal School. He was teaching art ed, right? So this is the first, Munsell color structure. So he did this in 1905. Why do you think that's wrong?
Because this is darker than that.
Mm-hmm. Right. These are not the same value, right?
Yeah.
But notice, I mean, they're pretty close, right? But notice what happened is that when you look at the color, red is over here, right? I'm not going to do it. Let's say yellow, right? So yellow, I'm going to put it in 100%, intensity. So it's actually like, I'll put it like right here, okay? So let's say this represents a sphere, okay? So let's say yellow is going to be here, right? So yellow, if I add white to it, it'll get lighter and it'll be low intensity, right? But yellow, if I add black to it, it gets darker and higher intensity. That doesn't make any sense, right?
It's gonna lose intensity.
Right. You're right, we established it's going to lose intensity. It's not, does that make sense?
Because the peak of intensity is not all gonna be the same within the red, within the yellow. You know what I mean? Like they're
Right.
not the same steps.
Right, and the most extreme would be, I don't know if I'll get to this, but
Like even with cold blue, like you're not they're not the same value.
hold on. What did you say?
So it's like a good example would be cobalt blue and
Mhm.
like other like colors. Is that you have a high intensity color,
Mhm.
and if you were to position it within the wheel, it's not gonna be in the same step value wise as a cadmium yellow.
Right.
You know, but it's also the highest intensity blue you can find. Maybe cobalt
Right.
blue is not a good example, but I think you know what I mean. You know what I mean?
No, I do. I want to just kind of elaborate a little bit on what you're saying, which is this. Because we established that when you add white to black to a color, it loses, color intensity,
Mhm.
right? So if you look at a sphere, that doesn't make any sense. Like yellow's going to be up here. When you add white to it, right? You go this way, and this way. That makes sense. Lighter and lower intensity. When you add black to it, it gets darker and higher color intensity. That doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah.
Right? Similarly, when you look at purple, I'm just going to draw a smaller one so I don't run out of space. Like purple is going to be here, right? So when you add black to it, it gets darker and then it gets lower intensity. That makes sense. But when you add white to it, it gets lighter and higher intensity. That also doesn't make any sense, right? So my guess, we don't really have the paper for it, but my guess is that Munsell probably kind of figured out that that's wrong. And then 1915 is when he come up with a different model of which yellow, is actually going to be like right here. It's like a weird kind of strange shape, I guess. And purple, the slice of purple, is actually, more like right here, okay? So that's why the Munsell structure looks like this. Really to ensure that the value makes sense to the color intensity. It's like when you guys have watched like old movies with like old UFO, the black and white kinds of really bad kind of sci-fi TV, and you have like the spaceship and it's kind of wobbling, so it's kind of like this, right? Does that make sense? Okay, so what you want to do then is to, I know it's a lot to absorb today, but what you really need to understand then is that in your mind, you need to be able to figure out you know, how the color, any colors that you're doing, you know, is you need to kind of like just realize that they exist on this base and not in this base. So usually when I paint, like after a while, I just kind of turn off everything, right? And basically, I'm just doing these calculations. I hit really fast.
But you think about relationships.
Right.
Not mixing exact colors because there's no such a thing. You have to interpret it.
Right. So lesson last week, you have to compress the value.
Yeah.
Number one. Lesson from this week, like I would say, you know, one is you need to kind of figure out how to, you know, you need to figure out like some kind of logical color solids. You know, that makes sense, right? It's not gonna be perfect, but this is as close as we get. And then also the relationship, you know, between, you know, the value structure and the intensity structure, so that you can kind of calibrate the value structure that allows you to express the range of intensity that you want, okay? And also subtractive color, you know, is another big one, right? Which we cover like right here, right? And then I guess the third lesson is really to understand that in your mind you should really adopt more of this solid and not this solid, you know, which is your wrong base. Okay? We good?
So let me ask